Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this week we continue to the create collections. So how to create museums collection. Alright, so collection management is the term applied to the various legal, ethical, technical and practical methods by which museum collection are assembled, organized, researched, interpreted and preserve. So collection management focus on the care of collection with concern of their long-term physical well-being and safety. That is the reason, right, why we are going to manage the collection inside the museum, because the part of it, because it is a rare collection, and besides it's also differ from one to another museum. Okay, it is a concern with the issue of preservation, use of collection and record keeping, as well as how to the collection support the museum mission and purpose. Okay, so the term collection management also is used to describe the specific activities undertaken in the management process. Okay, so managing collection effectively is critical to ensuring that the collection support the museum mission, meaning that not every collection that rare collection should be put in the museum, because it depends on the mission of the museum itself. Okay, what kind of collection that they want to represent to the user. So this also is vital in order to make the most of the always limited resources of time, money, equipment, material space, physical space and also staff. Equally, collection management needs to be based upon clearly defined policy and procedure that guide everyday decision making and activities. So there are three key elements of collections management. The first one is registration. Okay, so registration of collection provides baseline institutional accountability for the many and various objects, artifacts, specimens, samples and documents that the museum hold in trust for current and future generation of humanity. So the second one is preservation. Preservation of the collection also is an important part, because active aspect of collection management that underlies all other museum activities. So it depends on the collection itself. Okay, either they want to have, for instance, the exhibitions towards that collection. Okay, so they have to know what are the things that really support the museum activities. Okay. And then providing control access to collection through exhibit or research fulfill the museum mission to educate and interpret while protecting collection at the same time. It include addressing registration, preservation and access issues in writing can also be used to provide a framework for the collection management policy. Okay. So museum registration is concerned with the policy and procedure by which collections are acquired and formally entered into the register of the holding of the museum, and how they are managed, tracked and sometimes even disposed dispose of other that point. Okay, that is why they have to register, because they want to keep track how many collection that museum have, what kind of collection that they preserve, and then if there is the things that should be what I call as let's say lah benda tu rosak, okay, when the things become damaged, so how they are going to preserve it, this kind of materials, and also if they want to dispose, so what kind of procedures, what kind of policy that they should have to follow. Okay, so registration is process for permanent materials. Okay, the first one is acquisition and accessioning. These are the method by which a museum obtain its collection. Okay, the most common methods are gift, either they can get the materials by gift, bequest and purchase, exchange, fill, collection and any other museum by which title or ownership is transferred to the museum. So once the individuals or organization wants to transfer the materials or want to transfer the items to the museum, okay, they have to do certain declarations. Okay, they have to do certain declaration that they already transferred the ownership, so hak milik itu dah dipindahkan ke museum, maksudnya macam tu. Okay. It is very important that criteria are established to determine what is collected, and all object and collection acquired must have good title, must support the goals of the museum and be free from condition or restriction on their use. Okay, so the museum also must be able to provide for their long-term care and preservation. Another process is cataloging, numbering and marking. Okay, so cataloging is the process of identifying in descriptive details each collection object and assigning it a unique identifying number. So all objects in the permanent collection should be catalogued. So catalog information should include descriptive details, classification or other identification, physical dimensions, provenance, which is origin and history of the object in terms of location of find, previous ownership and means of acquisition, the accession number and also the storage location. So the catalog entry may also include a photograph or sketch and any other additional applicable information. Next is numbering and marking of object in the collection. So numbering and marking object is the process of associating a unique identifying number with a collection object and marking or labeling the object with that number. So the number may be an accession number or a catalog number. It is done so that object can uniquely be identified. Right? So it's almost the same with other institution, okay, organization. Information institution, because the purpose of they are doing registration, the purpose of they are doing cataloging, the purpose of they are marking certain object is because they want to that object being uniquely identified, so we know that number or that mark is the represent that object. Okay, so the marking method must be permanent so that the number does not wear off, yet be reversible so that it can be removed if necessary. Okay. Next is loan materials. Okay, loan are the temporary removal or reassign of an object of collection from its normal ownership or location. It is an incoming loan is borrowed by the museum from a lender, its owner or other normal holder, which can be another museum or an individual. So it involves a change of location of objects and collection, but not of title or legal ownership. And then an outgoing loan is the opposite. Okay, it involves lending out to another museum collection. Again, there is a change of location but not of title. Okay. And then for the process for loan, okay, which is material, the condition reports is a document composed of a written and visual description of an object appearance, state of preservation, and any defects at a particular point in time. So the first condition report should be made when an object is accessioned or receive a loan. Okay, it then is updated each time the object is involved in any activity such as inclusion in an exhibition or display or before and after of outward loan. Okay, so by doing this, any damage that occur will immediately be noticed. That is the purpose of the reason, okay, why they have to make a report. So the condition report also should be updated after any accidental damage and before conservation treatment is carried out. Okay. So preservation of collection involve collection storage, handling and moving collection, photography, insurance, conservation of collection, and also preparing for disaster. Okay. So for collection storage, okay, collection storage refers to the physical space where collection are housed when not an exhibition or being researched. So the term is also used to describe the various kinds of furniture, equipment, methods and materials that are used in the space used for the museum storage and study collection. So many collections spend the major part of their time in storage. So collection storage area protects objects against harmful factors in the environment, accident, disaster and theft, and preserve them for the future. So for this reason, collection storage is not that space where nothing happens, but it's a space where preservation of collection actively occurs. Okay. And handling and moving collection is a collection at are at increased risk of damage while they are being handled and moved. Okay, so however, there has to be a balance between protection and preservation, since it will be very hard to study, exhibit or otherwise use museum specimen and collection if it cannot be handled at all. Okay, and then to prevent damage it is essential to be very careful and use common sense when handling object of any size and types. It means that you cannot do suka-suka hati orang cakap. Bila you nak remove, when you want to remove the item, you must study what are the ways that will minimize the cost of damage for the items, right? And then photography is an integral and specialized part of the documentation of museum collection, definitely, right? So a photograph is not only a visual record of an object, but also aids in research, education, and retrieval of an object if it is misplaced, and as evidence in support of an insurance claim if something is lost or stolen. So a photograph also documents the condition of an object at a particular point in time so that future comparison can be made. Okay, for this reason, high quality photograph is essential. While for the insurance is for the collection generally regarded as an integral part of a risk management, which is a term used to describe the process of reducing the likelihood of damage or loss of collection by eliminating or at least minimizing hazard. Okay, so insurance is not a substitute for poor collection management and security. And unique object and collection are replaceable, but it can provide some monetary compensation in the unhappy event of damage or loss of object and collection. That is the purpose of the insurance itself. So the aim of the insurance is to provide sufficient monetary compensation, okay, to repair or replace the collection in the event of their damage or loss. This is why they have to insure their collection. For the collection of the conservation of the collection is a preventive conservation is the subject of another chapter, but it is vital to stress here that it is a very important aspect of collection management. It has to analyze every aspect of museum policy and operation and must be seen as the responsibility of every staff member on an ongoing basis. So this is the process of ongoing. Always do the same preservation part, okay, conservation part, sorry. Also, collection must be monitored on a regular basis to determine when an object or collection need the attention of the conservator. Then last one is preparing for disaster. So disaster preparedness and response are also very important parts of the overall collections management responsibility. It should, however, be stressed here that the aim should be to ensure the preparing prevent as far as possible emergency situation, whether due to the natural disaster, civil emergency such as fire, or the effect of armed conflict but does not lead to the loss of or serious damage to the museum collection. So they have to make a plan, right? If there is a disaster happen, so what they should do to ensure that the collection can be protect. Okay, they can protect the collection or they can preserve the collection in the very fastest way. Okay. So next is tools. Okay, tools used for cataloging in library. So in library there are several tools needed to complete catalog records. Okay, so each tool are different and it also meant for different purposes. For example, AACR2 is needed for the cataloging. LCSH or SLSH, choose one only, is a subject analysis cataloging, and also LCC, DDC, UDC, choose one only, is for classification. So I'm pretty sure you are quite familiar with this term because you should done your individual assignment, okay, regard to this topic. So this is the summary for the tools. Okay, descriptive cataloging, normally we use Anglo-American cataloging rules to update 2005 AACR2. For the subject analysis or cataloging, either one, okay, either you choose Library of Congress subject heading or CS list subject heading, and the classification there are three, which is Library of Congress classification, Dewey Decimal classification, and Universal Decimal classification. So tools for descriptive cataloging is a process to determine the 8 area in catalog records. That's why I ask you to the hafal, okay, these 8 areas. Okay, so it's actually derived from International Standard Bibliographic Description, also famous known as a ISBD. So it is the same area, okay, being used in ISBD and also in the cataloging. So ISBD define that the 8 area in descriptive cataloging include of multiple element with structured classification, which include a set of punctuation to identify and separate the elements and area. So the ISBD is useful and applicable for description of bibliographic resources in any type of catalog. So this is the 8 area that you should be familiar, alright, before you enter the next semester. So make sure you really hafal this 8 area, okay. Area 1 is title and statement of responsibility area. Area 2 is edition area. Area 3 is material or type of publication. Specific materials area only for categorical material, music, content resources and some of microform. Area 4 is publication distribution area. Area 5 is physical distribution area. Area 6 is series area. Area 7 is node area. And area 8 is standard number in terms of availability area. So this is the example of the AACR. Okay, this is the AACR that you should bring next semester, inshallah. So I think we go to the next part after this. So that's all for this video. Thank you.